guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Reckless speculation.
Happy
Best day of the week.
Speculation Thursday.
It's here.
We got our guy Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5. Look at that throwback photo from a decade ago. Is that Droogie? Your first?
That is Doogie, yes. Then that
Doogie's
is
like, no, it's
Keaton.
That's neither one of us.
They're
Well, I had to
kids
look.
that were hired,
Sure.
that the Wolfsons at the time hired to take the pictures because it makes for such a nice coffee mug.
It does.
That
Doogie's
was,
like, I got it at Home Goods.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
just,
know who took that
random
picture.
Just a child.
I'm guessing Laura. Yeah. But yeah, no, definitely one of my prized possessions right here.
No.
Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Department.
I'm talking
We
more
do
the coffee, not the mug.
We do scoop sessions every Tuesday and Thursday here. So I know Judd's got. We're gonna do a big Vikings trade speculation thing on Purple Daily today on Thursday. But let's dive into the speculative weeds here, Dukes. Where do you want to take us?
All right, well, it's not necessarily the speculative weeds.
Okay.
So prior to the trade for Cam Akers, I'm led to believe the Vikings preferred Khalil Herbert of the Chicago Bears. Now, maybe that's, diving into those speculative weeds a little bit. 100% confirmed, not reckless speculation. The Vikings had dialogue with Chicago. Absolutely had interest in Herbert. So it wasn't Cam Akers or bust. Now, clearly the Bears wouldn't do the parameters of the deal the Vikings worked out with Houston. I'm still trying to figure out. Now, I get it. Dameon Pierce is healthy. Joe Mixon is healthy. But why exactly are the Texans doing this deal? Is there that much trust in Dameon Pierce? Maybe that is the answer, but it's not like the Vikings gave up much. We're talking about a conditional 6th, receiving a conditional 7th, plus Akers 2026 draft, not 2025. So clearly the Bears would not do that deal. My understanding is the Bears were looking for a little bit more, maybe like a 5th. Now, Herbert is a free agent after the season. Roschon Johnson, DeAndre Swift ahead of him on the depth chart. So it's not like Herbert is playing much in Chicago. Very, very, very good chance he's not a Chicago Bear next year. So he's very much on the table. But for whatever reason or reasons, Ryan Poles, that Bears front office, Judd, would not do that offer the Vikings were able to complete with the Texans.
And you might not want to help the Vikings in, I mean, the division's extremely competitive, and I could see that. Like, I think it's one thing to make a divisional trade in the spring, for instance. It's another to do it. But so here's the reckless speculation.
You're right on that, by the way. So maybe they end up trading Herbert by, November 4th or 5th? Is it 5th. That Tuesday? Is it election day?
Election day.
Okay, so election day. So Tuesday, November 5th, that afternoon, it's entirely possible the Bears end up moving Herbert.
Yep.
And it might be something comparable to what we saw in terms of the parameters of the Vikings and Texans. But you're right. You don't make that trade in division.
November 5th, a day where the country is divided.
Yeah.
On the draft pick compensation needed to acquire backup running backs.
Lives will be made that day or potentially lost of football fans. Yeah. Let's go down the reckless speculation path of this, though. Off of that news and up, the fact that they did get Akers, you're reporting that clearly they had a preference over him and Herbert. Let's go down the path of this.
Well, I don't even know how clear it is. It's my sense.
Well, sure.
That it's not like it was Akers or bust or, hey, we need Cam back here. There was definite interest in Herbert.
But O'Connell said yesterday, like in talking about the Akers acquisition, he tried to caution immediately. This has nothing to do with, the Jones. It has to do, but I'm not buying that. Recklessly speculating, do we think that this says more about concern about Jones, who, by the way, it's not a hip, it's a hamstring, but evidently the two are sort of attached, so it's not shocking. And who now says that he felt a tweak in the pregame warmups in London and came out obviously early in that game. Do we think that this is a concern about that, or do we think that this is also a concern about depth and the fact that they're not as happy with Ty Chandler still as we might have thought, because Chandler, I like the speed. I love the speed. It's tantalizing, but he's definitely not the complete player or even close to it that Jones is. So what do we think that this says about about how the Vikings honestly perceived the running back room, starting with the concern about Jones' second consecutive year with a hamstring? Last year was his left one. This is his right one. But nonetheless, this is part of the Aaron Jones experience.
Yes. Oh, absolutely it is. I mean, to expect him to play 17 games is probably just, a bit asinine, right? That's the story of Aaron Jones in many ways. He's going to miss some games, but excellent when on the field. Now, I will say, I think it's more the latter, not the former. Now, that doesn't suggest that Aaron Jones is for sure playing on Sunday. To be determined on that front. Now, he did a bunch of treatment bye week. I'm telling you, watching him move on Monday, he looked pretty good, but I get it. DNP for practice on Wednesday. Today, we're recording this at 10:15 a.m. Central Time. They won't hit the practice field for approximately 4 hours. If he doesn't practice today, that would be a telltale sign about his availability for Sunday. But I can't sit here and tell you right now, Thursday morning, that Aaron Jones is definitively out on Sunday. If he is or isn't, this isn't a long-term concern, although you start thinking about the hamstring, it could be. But at least from my Egan spies, there's no sense that this is some sort of long-term concern. So my sense is it's more about Ty Chandler. And this is why they had all sorts of interest in early July in re-signing Cam Akers, plus exploring some other potential moves. So I don't know if they've ever been all in on Ty Chandler. Now, hey, was it the fumble in London? I mean, I think he catches that ball in that toss 98 out of 100 times. So I'm not necessarily concerned about that. But when thinking about the total package, I get it. And I absolutely see eventually here, maybe as soon as Sunday, Cam Akers trumping Ty Chandler, Cam Akers becoming that number 2 running back.
Interesting.
Let me ask you guys just a general speculative question here.
Reckless speculation.
Whether it be before the trade deadline in 2 weeks or whether it be before the draft in 6 months, percent chance they trade their first round pick in 2025?
80%.
Oh, Dex.
I'm high on them trading the pick between now and when they have
I will say this. Not trading back in the draft, but trading the pick for an established player.
Oh, okay. I think regardless, this team's moving back in the draft. They don't have day 2 picks,
Yeah.
so like whatever
slot
they have.
I mean,
they're
like
gonna move
full
back.
Rams, where, you know what? Let's go get the Jalen Ramsey from a few years ago. Let's go get I don't think Dexter Lawrence is available, but by God, if he is, you trade that first round pick for 26-year-old Dexter Lawrence. I'm with you, Dex. I think they move back if they keep the pick into the draft.
Right.
But percent chance they trade the pick either in the next 2 weeks or in the next 6 months free agency time for an established player. Full Rams.
Well, I will tell you, the answer is not 0%, that the possibility does exist. Now, yes, if we're talking about them moving back with potentially 6 or 7 first-round quarterbacks, a team coming up to be able to get that 5th-year option, the Vikings needing to acquire more draft assets come that Thursday night in late April, yes, it's entirely possible the Vikings move back if they maintain that first-round pick. Now, I will tell you, I think it ramps up even more, Phil, if they win on Sunday, create that much more separation in what looks like, I don't think this is a leap, the best division in football. But do I think that has at least been rattled about in Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah's mind? Yes, I do. Now, who is that player? Is it J.C. Horn, a cornerback for the Panthers? I don't even know what his contractual situation is. Is he a free agent after the year?
Let's see here.
There's a cornerback in Cleveland that I believe is enticing. Newsome.
Greg Newsome.
What about Jeffrey
II.
Simmons? I will tell you on Simmons.
A lot of contract left.
Yeah, in Tennessee
Big
with
cap
Simmons.
hits. A lot of contract.
Okay, so I haven't looked at the contractual situation of all these guys I'm tossing out. I will tell you, even going back pre-draft, and hey, there are still a number of people, even though it's a new regime, there are a number of holdovers from when Jeffrey Simmons was draft eligible, there were a lot of healthy opinions of Jeffrey Simmons pre-draft, and I'm not quite sure he's done anything with the Titans to make you change off that stance. Really good player.
27.
Now, I don't know if the Titans would move him.
years.
Yeah, I don't know if the Titans would move him. But that's the sort of player, Dexter Lawrence, yes, that you would move that first-round pick for.
Let me give you guys a potential really recklessly speculative scenario that I think could be in play here.
Dirty. Talk dirty.
Yep. Play the reckless speculation sounder, followed by the how can I put this nicely? By that porn bed that you got.
I haven't heard it. Let me hear
it. You've heard it. I'll
You've
set
heard
it
it
up
before.
here.
Which one?
Judd calling for his production there in
Was that? Yeah.
Speculation.
Where's the porn bed?
There it is. Okay, so here's what
It's been a while since I've heard this, but yeah, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. So here's
Yeah, I'm
what
thinking
gonna
about
give
Boogie
you.
Nights right now. Okay.
Yep. Here's what I'm going to give you. The Vikings trade their first-round pick. They acquire a player whose contract is expiring, so they don't take on a bunch of cap hits.
All right.
Then
JC Horn? Is he expiring?
no,
All right, JC Horn.
He has, I think it was
He
a
is
club
not, okay.
option that was picked up for 2025, $12.5 million.
Got it.
And
Okay.
then, and in that trade, so they're trading a late first-round pick for an expiring contract of a player they're probably not going to retain, so they get, let's say, a third-round pick back. So
you keep a pick, but you get a player.
Yep, and you need picks. You like your first round pick, but I'm saying, so if you trade for a player who has term left on his contract, obviously the team that's participating in the trade is going to want more back from you. So
But wait, are you saying that you would trade a first round pick for like 3 months of a rental?
I'm saying a really good rental.
I need term.
I'm just throwing it out there. I'm saying 3 months of really good rental that can help you win, and you could retain him if you want.
Say you could retain him. You have the cap space. It's not like you're entering a cap
but
space.
if you don't,
if you could reach an agreement, okay.
Who is that? I'm looking at the top free agents come March, like DJ Reed. If the Jets lose on Sunday to the Steelers,
he's going to be available.
Yeah, well, they'll
could
keep
he be
pushing
available?
forward.
Are you giving up a one for DJ Reed, who's a good player, but is he the guy?
I'm just throwing it out there because I think that there's actually going to be, because of how the league has brilliantly changed the deadline. It's been moved back. It's now a more active time. I think that I think the guys being shopped are going to there's going to be teams in play probably. I'm not saying it happens. I'm just saying I could see that.
It's not a real great list.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at.
Why is Dexter Lawrence even being floated?
Like
but like that dude's under contract for 4 more years. He's 27 years old.
I don't think so either. Andre Patterson loves that guy.
Yeah,
okay.
Loves him.
I make the call, but like there's
make the call, but yeah, I mean, there's no sense that they're moving him.
I just think you got to be careful if someone is young enough, maybe they're a free agent, but you can re-sign them. I do draw the line at trading a first-round pick for a rental. In football, there's just so many variables. Now, if it's a basketball trade and it's like, one of your 8-man rotation, it's Kevin Durant or something, cool, take 4 first-round picks.
But you are
I don't think they're trading a one for a pending free agent.
But you are assuming then if you trade a one for a pending free agent that can help you, you are trading basically what could be akin to a second-round pick. Like it's a late first-round pick. We're not talking a top 15 pick.
Oh, I get it.
So
but it's
I'm just throwing it out there.
But I think there needs to be term. I do. I think it's a player that's under contract in 25.
Okay.
Yeah. So, hey, before we dive into the rest of...
But I like the reckless speculation, Judd.
Oh, it's very reckless.
And hey, I think, keep it going on, Purple Daily, whatever space you want to keep it going. The idea of moving the first-round pick, I don't think
Doogie,
I don't think it's not, zero.
My confidence is not shaken whatsoever. I come to the table with thoughts. And sometimes they're accepted and sometimes they're not. But the confidence of the reckless speculation lifestyle, it never leaves you.
Well, it's not like I'm 100% right. It's not like in this moment, we can have an argument where I know for a fact they're not giving up their first round pick for a pending free agent. I'm just telling you, in this moment, I'd be very, very surprised. Not necessarily surprised at them giving up the one, especially if they win on Sunday, but for a pending free agent, that would surprise me.
You know, Park Dental acquired me as a free agent a few months back.
First round
That's
pick.
right. I don't know if I was a first-round pick, although I haven't had a cavity in quite some time.
I love that
Knock on
smile
wood.
when you walk in.
I know.
That's right. Just showing off
The
those
strut,
pearly
too.
whites.
I like the strut.
That's my going to the dentist strut. Look at these clean teeth. Park Dental, 50 years caring for and cleaning teeth in the Twin Cities and Western Wisconsin. They did a great job. I was a little anxious because I had a great dentist for like 10 years. He retired, left me just hanging out dentistless in the wind. Park Dental came in and said, hey, we got your back. Long-term contract for old Macadac, I think, with Park Dental. You can schedule your checkup at parkdental.com. That's parkdental.com.
Why did you pat yourself on the right shoulder as you were walking out? Were you like proud of the job you did?
Did I pat myself?
Yeah, it was sort of like, yeah, you did.
Good
Watch
job,
back
Phil.
the video.
Yeah. Good job, Phil. Nice work. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Make sure to floss at least a couple times a week there, Phil. Okay. Hey, Hockenson, what are we thinking here? Do we have any inkling as to he's limited in practice? He can come back maybe this weekend. They got a Thursday game before we get into like Wolves and some other stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, continues to look phenomenal, but I don't foresee him playing on Sunday. The question is, does he play against the Rams a week from, heck, today? Or do they wait for that Colts game in early November, give him that many more days after the Rams game? But I'm just telling you, eye test, he looks great. To me, he should be out there for the Rams game, but that is a discussion that will continue internally, but I don't foresee him playing against the Lions on Sunday.
That sounds right.
All right. Hey, Julius Randle. I know the Wolves lost the game or whatever preseason. Now they get a back-to-back. Judd and I are going to be there tonight. I don't even know if they're going to play starters tonight because they had to move it.
They are not playing their starters tonight.
Yeah, so I might just go pick up those credentials, Judd, and I don't know, have a media meal and go home, go to the bar. We'll see. Maybe we can do a show meeting across the street. Although Josh Minot is worth watching for a little while.
Sure.
Dude, he cashed a couple of like
His shot looks
fadeaway
better.
hand-in-face threes in the second half.
He was
last
here
night.
most of the summer. We've touched on him, going back weeks. I absolutely see him being a rotation guy. Now, he's not going to be like the seventh man, right? It may fluctuate game by game, like on that line of ninth man, 10th man, but I absolutely see maybe more like 10th, but I absolutely see Josh Minot earning some minutes this year.
Julius Randle, and I've watched enough of him with the Knicks and the Lakers back in the day, but when you watch him as a Timberwolf now, and you're watching him in this lineup with more of a critical eye, Cat's a better shooter, and maybe Cat's a better overall player. Analytically, he's more efficient offensively, but Julius Randle, the things that Cat was frustratingly deficient at. One-on-one driving, he had the number one foul percentage on drives and the number one turnover percentage on drives, and then post-ups too. His post-up game just sort of eroded over the years. Julius Randle as a one-on-one player and just as a decisive athlete, really impressive to watch. And the more I've seen him here in a small sample size, the more I'm not as nervous about the fit, Doogie. Or what kind of word are you getting just early on here, Julius Randle?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of optimism that Chris Finch has the history with Julius going back to their days in New Orleans, that this trade doesn't happen without Chris Finch's blessing, that Chris absolutely wanted this to happen, that Julius is uber excited to reunite with Chris. I still have some spacing concerns, but like watching the passing last night of Julius, the overall decision-making, remember, that was his first game. Yeah. Right. I mean, I get it. You're doing conditioning at practice on your own with your summer trainer, but it's different when it's an actual game. That's his first game in many, many months. And I thought it was pretty darn good. Now, hey, Phil, the guy I have a man crush on is Dante DiVincenzo.
Oh, dude.
Dante DiVincenzo right now looks like their second best player.
Phil's
he
been
really
saying that
does.
since the day
I mean, fight me on that. But yeah, I mean, how is he not right now their second best player? I'm telling you
on that take.
Now, I get it. Like, if you're starting a team, you probably take Gobert even in his young 30s, so I get it, or Jaden McDaniels, or Naz Reid even. But I'm just telling you, right in this moment, now Naz didn't play last night. They're calling it a minor shoulder injury. I don't have any concern for next Tuesday in Los Angeles, the season opener when it comes to Nas's availability. But right now, to me, watching these preseason games, DiVincenzo looks like their second best player.
Yeah, I'm not going to fight you on that because I love me some DiVincenzo. I think Rudy is just a totally different type of player in terms of just value. I'll take Rudy's defense as the second best player on the team. But, dude,
Sure.
But DiVincenzo, and I don't have the box score here, but I think DiVincenzo and Ant combined for like 33-point attempts last night. Now, they only, or was it 26 or 30? Now, they only made about 7 of them. But it's very obvious the Wolves are conscious of the math game that they were losing last year. They had the third highest make percentage on threes, but they shot 10 fewer threes per game than Boston. Both teams made the same percentage. So they were just losing the math game to Boston, and the solution wasn't as easy as, well, just shoot more threes because you need the personnel to be able to have guys that can shoot and get off 10 good threes. DiVincenzo can. Anthony Edwards can. So in the preseason, that's one of the most glaring things. There's Minot's improvement. There's some other stuff, but clearly Chris Finch and the front office have told Anthony Edwards and Dante DiVincenzo, fire away, boys.
29.
Oh, absolutely.
Threes, the better.
29 combined last night.
29.
16 for Ant, 13 for DiVincenzo.
How about Ant getting teed up last night?
In a preseason game. Love it. Just clapping
absolutely.
that official.
Yeah, I mean, you think about Sunday's preseason game than last night's, right? I mean, it feels like absolutely the regular season. Yes, I mean, even going back to last year with the defense that good, just think about all the misses from the opponent and the opponent not being able to set its defense, so being in a position to get some open looks on the offensive end. And yeah, I mean, you just laid out the math. But yes, there is. I mean, it's the game now, right? I mean, you hear, Willie Green down in New Orleans or some other coaches, this emphasis on, hey, we need to play at a faster pace. We need to get up more threes. I mean, that's pretty much league-wide. But yes, that emphasis does exist here in Minnesota.
Hey, Doogie, do you see the potential with the depth here for a trade at some point?
Well, I mean, I think Keita Bates-Diop might get traded here in the next handful of days, but that's minor. That's just dumping the contract.
Sure.
Like who? Like who are you suggesting? I mean, Naz Reid is here long-term.
No.
I
I'm
see a
saying
new
like the depth.
contract. I don't think they're moving
like
Jaden
there's-
McDaniels right now.
Right.
Are you suggesting
Agreed.
that there's not enough on this team to sweep the NBA Finals right now? Because I might fight you on that after watching a few preseason.
I am saying, does the back end of the roster have some prospects basically who aren't going to play enough but might entice teams to give up a draft pick?
Well, maybe, but you think about the lack of draft picks moving forward. Now, maybe you think that Detroit pick will convey in the coming years, but
Sure.
that might be difficult. But, I don't think the idea is to move Terrence Shannon or Rob Dillingham. Nikhil is a pending free agent. Would you move Nikhil at some point? But if you're thinking about this roster being good enough to compete for a championship
You need
come May and June, I don't think you're moving off Nikhil. Maybe he leaves in the summer in free agency, but you don't necessarily need to move him in the moment.
There's too much talent.
Wow.
It's embarrassing.
I just don't know if I
Always happen to some of
see
this.
the obvious trade in the moment. Now, hey, if they end up as the 7 or 8 seed, losing the first round of the playoffs, we get it. Like Ant is their only truly untouchable, right? I mean, after we saw the cat trade, is there anything imminent on, the Jaden McDaniels front? No, but the right offer comes in, yes, of course they'll move off of Jaden McDaniels. I still think Rudy Gobert ends up signing a contract extension. Tuesday is not any sort of drop-dead deadline, although there has been enough chatter, the two sides, mutual interest, but they could get that thing done, later in the season. There's no hardcore deadline for Tuesday, but could you move off Gobert? I suppose, but there's nothing imminent on that front. So I don't see it, Judd. I'm glad you asked the question. I don't necessarily see the match with another team.
You also have to be prepared for Julius Randle to miss games, for Mike Conley to miss games.
Well,
maybe
Mike is
even
going
Rudy
to sit out
Gobert.
games. I mean, just for rest purposes.
So you're going to need 11, 12 trustworthy players just to get through the regular season. So I'd be careful about trading like Josh Minot for a second round pick just to save $1 million or $2 million or something. So
yeah, I mean, maybe Leonard Miller, if you think Minot has clearly, past any prospect of Leonard Miller earning minutes immediately. But I haven't heard that, I guess. So I think right now what you see is what you get.
What else is left in that scoop bag? Let's go rapid fire scoops here, Dukes.
Nothing crazy, but happy for my guy Spencer Rowland, the former Vikings offensive lineman, Harvard into North Carolina. Well, Apple Valley High School into Harvard, into the right tackle for Drake May at North Carolina, signed with the Vikings as an undrafted free agent, was in camp all preseason, signed this week to the Green Bay Packers practice squad. And I'm now curious to see what happens back to basketball. One of my guys, Kendall Brown, former Eastridge High School star, cut or waived, I guess, technically, by the Indiana Pacers this week. Just a reminder of how hard it is to make an NBA roster. Kendall Brown is really, really good, and he can't stick on an NBA roster. We were having this discussion the other day on the TV side with the WNBA expanding. Like, you think about Sarah Scalia, the former Gopher Indiana Hoosier from Stillwater. She's playing over in Italy right now. She's not on a WNBA roster, but with expansion coming, maybe a player like that has a chance. It's so hard, whether it's the WNBA or the NBA, to make a roster.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just catching up on Starting Five, the Netflix show. And I think I saw there was a snippet in there where, like, there's 450 players in the NBA every year, and like 100 of them turn over. You think about, because each team has 14 or 15 guys on it. And there's dudes like Luka Garza, where you watch Luka Garza in a preseason game or in the G League, or hell, when the big men are out and he plays 30 minutes against the Nuggets and he's scoring 20 points. He dominates garbage time. He can't get into a game outside of a 20-point lead in the fourth quarter. There's guys like him that are, Leonard Miller's another one. He's a really good basketball player. Can't get on the floor. So hyper competitive for sure.
Amen. All right, boys. We will talk next week. This sounds really, really horrible, but if the New York Liberty find a way to celebrate a championship tomorrow night at Target Center, then I can be at US Bank Stadium on Sunday. Although maybe I'll go fight that battle regardless. Maybe I can convince Joe Schmidt or somebody else in our TV office to take the New York trip.
Doesn't want to go.
That was a gut punch last night.
Want to go to New York?
They couldn't but I'd rather be, seriously, Judd. I want to be at US Bank Stadium on Sunday. I really do.
It's going to be.
I'm pumped up for that game. I am.
It's going to be a great game.
We've got this weekend. You got Texans, Packers. You got Chiefs, 49ers. And then that Jets, Steelers, just from a car crash standpoint, it's going to be interesting.
Oh, yeah. Is Russ in? Is Russ playing? Or is it Fields?
It sounds like Russ is in.
Yeah. I think it's Russ, yeah.
And Devontae and all that. So, yeah, I want to consume football on Sunday. And, hey, there's a part of me, okay, Lynx win tomorrow night. I think New York finds a way in Game 5. So you go there, and, hey, I'm supposed to be objective, right? It doesn't matter. Just cover the story. But it would be much more enjoyable to cover a champagne celebration, watch the Lynx celebrate. And I get it. Hey, they won Game 1 in New York. They won there in the regular season. I just think if it gets to New York for Game 5, unless Stewart or, Ionescu goes down with an injury tomorrow, I think New York finds a way. That's how much last night was a gut punch. 14 of 40 in the paint near the rim. Like they couldn't make shots, right? So there's a party that says, oh, the Lynx aren't going to shoot that poorly tomorrow night. They're going to find a way. But I think Sabrina's going to be better earlier in the game tomorrow, too.
Yeah. He's Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department. All right, Dukes. Good luck to you and your travel escapades. We'll talk next week.
Sounds good. We'll talk next week. See ya.
All right, guys. Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd. It's Thursday on Purple Daily. We got Kyle Tighe on Flagrant Howls today. Royce Unchained celebrating his 79th birthday. So all sorts of stuff here across the Score North podcast. See ya.